Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today we have a classic recipe for you, and I know when I tell you what we're making you're gonna think, well, why is she showing me how to make that? I know how to make that because we like to do the classics and we like to show you that sometimes the classics are really easy to do the scratch made way. And this recipe has multiple ways you can make it scratch made, and ours is just one of many, so we are sharing our recipe for classic homemade macaroni and cheese. Now this is one of my favorites and my kids. They are very quick to scrutinize every other homemade macaroni and cheese. They don't like it runny, they like it cheesy, they like it a little firm but not too firm. They're very picky, and I think that I have probably made them cooking snobs, so that's all my fault. But we are going to start with one casserole dish, and you can use a 9 by 13 or an 8.5 by 11, it doesn't matter. And this is an oblong dish that I'm using, but it's kind of deep, so it will accommodate what we're about to put in it. Now, ahead of time, I have boiled up 16 ounces of macaroni, and these are elbows, and I'm using the traditional purist elbows for mine, but any pasta will do. You just want to cook about 16 ounces, and we're going to put that first in our lightly greased dish. Now it's still warm, and that's the way you want it, because we're going to add 2 tablespoons of butter to that and let it melt in the pasta. Now we're going to talk about our other ingredients as we add them and show you how to get this mixed up. So I'm just getting that butter worked in right now. The butter helps to keep that pasta from sticking. So I have just cooked this pasta for about 5 or 6 minutes, and the reason why is because it has to cook in the oven too. So if you cook it until it is completely done on top of the stove, then you're going to end up with a lot of busted elbows because it will kind of get mushy on you. Now, one of the great things about this recipe for macaroni and cheese is that if you do tend to overcook your pasta, you can recover from it because we are going to be adding eggs to the dish, and that kind of helps bring everything back together. So I think that I have just about gotten all my butter good and worked in throughout, and then by spraying the dish too, that kind of helps us too as far as with sticking. So I've just spread my pasta out, and we've only cooked it, like I said, about 5 to 6 minutes. Still it's al dente, and that means to the tooth, literally in Italian. And what that means is it's still firm, it's chewy, but it's not hard. So that is your Italian lesson for today. So now at this point, we are going to add in just a little bit of salt, and not much. And this is one of those recipes where you do this to your preference. And then we add in our pepper. And I like doing about a 1/4 teaspoon of each, just enough to give it flavor. Now when I cooked my pasta, I added probably about another 1/4 to a 1/2 teaspoon of salt to the water. So the pasta already has been salted and whenever I boiled it and brought it together. So now I'm just going to stir that salt and pepper in, and then I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of milk, and this will give it that creamy, yummy texture without making it too soupy, but it will also help your cheese kind of melt into the dish when the milk gets hot. And I know that looks like a lot of milk, but I promise you with the addition of the eggs and the cheese, that will get better. And now we have about 3 cups of cheese here, so I'm going to take about half of that and put it in the pasta because we want that nice cheese center. We want that nice cheese pull. So we're just gonna fold that in with the milk and the pasta. And get it good and incorporated because we want it to be really, really cheesy mac and cheese, right? All right, so we've got that good and worked in there. Now we are going to take our eggs, and I have 2 eggs that I have just lightly beaten. I can't even talk today. And then I'm going to carefully just kind of drizzle those over the top. And now I try not to mess with this too much, but I do tend to just tap it with my spoon and spread that egg out, because you don't want it to land in all one place. You want it, because you don't want it to be eggy. So I kind of just stick my spoon in and tap to work it in and move it around and make sure it gets in all corners of my dish. And then I just take it, the back of my spoon, and I spread it all back out. Now I've got some excess cheese on my spreading spoon here. We don't want to waste any of that cheese. I'll get in trouble with Danny if I waste that cheese. So we want to make sure we get it all spread out in here. And then we're going to take the remainder of that cheese and put it on top. We like a good little rooftop of cheese on here because that also helps to protect our pasta from getting too done in the oven and crunchy. I mean, when you're eating macaroni and cheese, whether you like it soupy or whether you like it kind of firm, you still don't want to bite into a hard cooked piece of that pasta. So I like to just take my clean hands and spread it out all along the edges. And there we are, nice and pretty, a nice little cheese rooftop. So we have this ready. So this will go into a 350-degree oven anywhere from about 20 to 25 minutes. Everything in it is cooked except the eggs, and the eggs won't need that long of a cook time. So we're gonna pop this in the oven and then we'll let it cool a little bit and come back and show you how perfect this classic macaroni and cheese is. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, we're back. We finished a little more than a 25-minute cook time. Usually if I'm using a bigger dish, it's flatter, it's not as deep, so I gave it just an extra 3 minutes just to make sure it wasn't too soupy. So that's a good note. If you use a deep dish like I did, you might just want to increase your cook time just a bit so that it's not too soupy, and it all sets up really well. We also have let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes just so it won't be too hot to handle and so that I can still get that nice cheese pull when we dip it out. So we are going to dip some out now and show you how cheesy and wonderful it is, and it just makes a big noise. Let me get my hot pad. I've got it on a trivet so it wants to act funny. So it is, and whenever we cut back, I'm gonna show you how pretty it is. So I'm not gonna dip out a lot, but I just want you to take note. See, it is not soupy. So if you like yours kind of firm, but not real firm and not real eggy, then this is your recipe. It's got just enough egg in it to kind of hold it together, but it's moist enough that it's fantastic too. So now I'm gonna shoot back over to me, and then we're gonna pull some out and show you how wonderful and cheesy it is. It is just fantastic. And look at all that cheese. Danny's sitting here just ready for me to shut up talking so he can get to eating. But that is the perfect macaroni and cheese, in my opinion, and the opinion of my girls too. So this is fantastic because it does not require any great skill on making a roux base, although a roux base is really easy to do, and if you wanted to, you could check out our video on how to make a roux base and certainly add it to this recipe in place of the milk. But This recipe is meant to be for those who are just starting out, who just want a simple, delicious, easy homemade mac and cheese, and this is it. So we've got a lot of carbs to eat tonight, so we're not going to keep y'all very long. Make sure, if you're not already, that you're following us on all of our social media channels. We cook over at Facebook and Instagram, and we would love to see you there as well. Also, be sure that you're subscribed to our channel on YouTube and hit the bell so that you can be notified whenever we drop new videos like this one. And for all of our homemade, easy, scratch-made, and with a few shortcut recipes, be sure to check us out over at thebutteredhome.com. We have a lot to offer, and we are really proud of our website. We'd love to have you visit us there. So tune in next week. We'll have another great casserole recipe for you. And yes, this does qualify as a casserole because it's lots of things in one pan. So for more like this, be sure to tune in next week for more Buttered Home. From our home to your home. Lord, I need a blooper reel. We love y'all. Bye.